Another day, another podcast. I'm very excited to bring in Sheriff. Sheriff is one of the, as I said in the last podcast, is one of the guys that I really admire. And then we decided to just make these episodes every single week for you guys.
Yes,
and yeah, like just bring more awareness, right?
Absolutely.
To our fitness community. Today is going to be a very special day. First of all, I've been traveling in here, so like I'm a bit out of the place, but like it's all good. How are you, my guy? How's life?
I'm doing great, man. I feel great. Happy New Year once again. I know we're already 11 days into the new year, but I feel excited about this year. I hope you do too, man. I think it's like being in 2022 feels different. You know what I mean? I know time is an arbitrary thing, but it just feels different. I think the mood in the world is just like, listen, like this is the year that you're going to make shit happen. You know what I mean? Changes are going to happen. It's going to be all on a positive note. And I feel good. That's kind of like the energy that I'm bringing today.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a cycle, you know what I mean? Like 3 years, it could be like not exciting, but always it's going to be a good start and a good new vibes for people. So it's not only you, like a lot of people feels the same way.
Yeah.
A lot of doors is going to open in this year. So
sure.
If you don't grab it, it will not happen.
Yeah. Nah. I mean, you know, what's funny,
You agree?
I know we haven't necessarily got into the podcast yet, but this is kind of like a little bit off topic, but it's related to some of the things that I always like to talk about. And it's funny because, like, you know, we've been in this pandemic for a while now. I mean, you know, started and really blew up in like 2020-ish or 2019-ish, right? And the whole world has kind of been in this state of like, people are scared, you know, for what's happening right now. They're afraid of COVID. They're afraid of just all these things. The vaccine has kind of been, you know, pushed as the cure in a sense to getting us back to normal. And right when we felt like, you know, we were getting back to this normalcy in the world, now all of a sudden we got new variants coming out, right? And just all of these things. And I think when I talk to people are sick, and I don't know if you feel the same way, but people are sick and tired of this, right? Like the whole energy around it is like, man, like it's here, it's not going anywhere. You know what I mean? Like there's always going to be, it seems like every week there's something new that's popping up about a new variant or something that's about to happen. But we're just, you know, people are just sick of it. You know what I mean? People are just ready to just go back to living their lives normally. And I think, you know, for me, when this whole thing hit, I've always kind of lived my life out of like, I never want to live my life in fear like most people do, right? You know, and I've just continued to live the same way, do a lot of the same things that I was doing prior to, you know, pandemic happening. And I think when you go into it with that mindset, things are going to be different. Things are going to feel a lot different and feel a lot better. And I think 2022 is kind of like the year that most people are just like saying like, fuck it. You know what I mean? We're just going to go back to doing what we can. And, you know, we tried for several years to try to get rid of this thing, but more and more we're realizing that it's not going anywhere. And so this is the year that we're just going to be like, fuck it. And we're just going to live our lives, right? We're just going to go out there, do all the things. If you get COVID, you know, it is what it is. You know what I mean? God forbid anything really seriously happens to you, like dying or anything like that. But at the end of the day, there's nothing that we can honestly do. So I'm encouraging everybody at this point in their lives, like, listen, like COVID is here. You know what I mean? It's not going anywhere. But you just got to live your life. You can't live out of fear anymore. We got to go out there and just attack all of our goals and things that we want. And it's never been a better time. Like this day and age, with so much access to so much information, so much, being able to, you know, get things out there with the social media. Like there's no reason why you can't live out some of the things that you want to do. Like if you're like, you know, any type of entrepreneur, if you do makeup, you know what I mean? Like post on social media, get yourself out there. There's never been an easier time to do that. If you like, look at video gamers right now are winning big time, right? People are playing video games and winning, but it's just never been a better time to like really live in all of your talents and just go after your goals and just make it happen. Like literally can monetize anything that you desire And we're living in the best of times to really be able to do all of those things. And so I love it, man. 2022 is here, and this is the time where you got to commit and just go after it.
I agree 100%. I think fear of death is the source of all the fears, right?
Absolutely.
And I think people forget that one day you gotta face it.
Yeah.
You will die. You're not gonna stay here for a long time.
Yeah.
So better face it now and live a better life than face it when you're about to die and now you know the truth.
Right.
And then you look at your life and you're like, this is something I had to be afraid of my entire life, and it affects the way how I live.
Absolutely.
Like, it's something that this is one way that I look at it is kind of, this is off topic, but death, it happens every single day. You sleep it every day. You're not even conscious. So this is natural. You know what I mean? And when you remind yourself that tonight I'm not gonna sleep, I'm gonna die for 8 hours, and then do it and go back again to do it.
Yeah.
And there is no fear of anything.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you don't have to. You know what I mean? Like, if you always want to do something that it's next level, it always comes with fear because it's out of your knowledge.
Yeah.
But like, if you stop because of fear, you're not gonna get to the next level.
Yeah.
And it has that, and the pandemic just proved that.
Yeah.
It just proved it. That's it.
Yeah,
it's not something new. It's been happening throughout the history.
Yeah.
And just people just don't really have the broad vision of what happened to life in general, not just me.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. There's people
that's
right
my
now
takeover.
that's just so afraid of death that they're living their lives like they're already dead. It's like they're living so cautiously that they're afraid of taking any type of risk. And, life is all about taking risks, right? I mean, the fact that you're here, right? You came out of somebody's womb, right? Like, that's a miracle on its own, right? And so when you waste your life in fear and you're afraid of taking risks, then that's not life. That's death. You might as well, you know what I mean? And so it's interesting to watch, because I got friends right now that like swear that they're not going to do anything. They lock themselves inside of their house. They don't want to go out. They don't want to do anything. And granted, I understand some of their fears. I get it. Like, you still can't like box yourself in and continue to do this for the next 3, 5, who knows how long, right? I mean, why waste? Some people have already wasted. I mean, since the time the pandemic has started, some people have already wasted like 3 to 4 years of their lives boxed in, right? And there's other people that have been, for a lack of a better term, all right? And it's not, I don't want to make this sound like it's a bad thing, or even a good thing. Well, some people are capitalizing big time off of the pandemic. Some people are looking at it like, well, there's less and less competition out here, because why? Because people are afraid to actually go after what they want, because they're boxing themselves in because they're scared. And then there's people that like myself that's just like, listen, like, great. You don't want to go out there and do it because you're afraid. You know what I mean? Fine, no problem. I'm going to be that person that goes out there and goes after it. Right? So it's less competition for me, less personal trainers, less coaches, less all of these things. And so this is kind of like that wake up call. You know what I mean? Like, stop living your life in a box, and this is the time to really go after it, and stop being afraid of death and start really just living. Just
do it. You know what I mean? Like, just take the risk, do the first step, and then you're going to figure it out later. You know what I mean? I'll give you an example. I had to go to Korea. I know for a fact that the borders are closed. But without me going to Korea, I didn't get the contract, the MMA contract. Right. And I got about five investors that are ready to put $5 million for a tour in Asia. Jeez. For a lot of influencers. Mm-hmm. And then I had to go back home, and I flew to Ireland, and I figured it out.
Right. Exactly.
Although they're like, no, you can't. But I did.
Right.
If I never thought about, if I stayed in here, for example, at the first place, if I stayed here, and I never made the trip to Korea. A lot of things happen in Korea. I had an accident in Korea, but I figured it out.
Right.
Fear is never an excuse. It's never an excuse. But if you allow it to happen, then congrats to your real death. Yeah. So the difference in here is like when I'm dying, I'm like, shit, I had a really fight of life.
Right.
I've done crazy things. Or I can have like, oh shit, like I've spent 20 years doing the same thing again and again because I didn't want to try something new.
Yeah.
And it's your options.
Yeah.
There is risk in both of them.
Yeah. No,
So pick your risk.
You're right.
You know what I mean?
There's risk in both. You know what I mean? I like this quote. It says like, life starts at the end of your comfort zone. And I've always lived by that. It just makes perfect sense. So I love it.
And speaking about comfort zone, what do you think? Because this is people's general thought. Fitness, business, relationships are all separated. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I think all of them require some levels of discipline to have success in, right? Fitness, business, and relationships. So although they're, three separate things, to have success in them requires you to be consistent, disciplined, and really work on being better at each, right? Case in point, my fitness journey, right? I know a lot of people marvel at some of the things I've been able to achieve when it comes to, my fitness journey overall. And, when people ask me questions about it, like, how did you do it? How did you do it? How did you do it? I think one of the first things that I'm clear on that I share with them is like, I just have discipline, right? I just do the things over and over and over again that I know that I need to do in order to have success in it, right? And when it comes to business, it's the exact same thing, right? I'm fortunate enough to be able to run, a huge global health coaching business where I support people with nutrition products, show them how to use it, show them how to, work out, show them how to eat properly in order to achieve their goals, super customizable to them. And a lot of it, again, is really discipline. It's discipline in doing the things in order to acquire my clients. It's discipline in doing the things to support my clients so that they get the best possible results. It's discipline in being able to support a team of people who I've groomed to do exactly the same thing and to earn their income and to, have success in that business as well. But it's all discipline. And then when it comes to relationships, I mean, listen, like, I've been with my girlfriend now, I think going on maybe about 5 years, and she's probably going to kill me that I don't know that exact number. However, it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of discipline in doing the actions for us to work. Some people think that when you just get in a relationship that love conquers all. And it's so funny because I think about, the fairy tale, movies and things that are fed to us. Like, all you need is love. Like, it's just like an interesting thing because, love obviously is the beginning of it. And yes, love is a glue, but work is essentially what is needed in order to make it stick and stay long term, right? And to have that success in it. And, me and my girlfriend, we have our bouts as well, just like any other relationship. No relationship is perfect. But, inside of our relationship, one of the things that we're clear on is that communication is key. Working on ourselves is key, because when we work on ourselves, it makes us better for each other, right? When she's able to work on herself, become a better human being overall, learn better how to more than just love me, but support me, right? Understand me. So, so when we get in communication and bouts, she's clear on who I am. And vice versa, right? I got to become better for her so that, we can make this thing work, right? And, for us, I'll be, just to kind of share as well, too, it's like our fitness and our business are intertwined as well in our relationship, right? Because we do our business together. And on top of that, we run very similar fitness, patterns and how we go about. Like I do bodybuilding, and I recently just kind of recommitted back to it after 6 years of, not doing so. And now the remnants of it, she's doing the exact same thing. So she's gearing up to get ready for her show. And she was inspired by, the things that I've done. And so again, it's like they're all super intertwined, especially, you know, and all of everything that we do, but all of it comes down to discipline, taking the actions necessary in order to have success in each and every single category of your life.
Absolutely. And first thing, when I want to break down discipline, because the way how I look at it is when you have a word for a lot of qualities, people tend to look at it in a way that I do have it or I don't have it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everyone has discipline. It's not like you don't have it or you can't do it. It's you direct your discipline
100%.
to a way that it matches your thought,
100%.
right?
Yes.
Like this, like what discipline means for you. For example, internally, we're not talking about like physically doing something, but like internally, what it means to you.
Well, you know, discipline in a sense is doing things when the motivation isn't there. That's kind of like my definition of it, right? Because, you know, it's easy to be disciplined when you're motivated. Like right now, somebody can say something to you, give you a pep rally, or you can see some image that represents what you want in life. And in that moment, because you're motivated, you'll go out there and start taking the actions, right? But what happens when that motivation isn't there? Or I like to put it like this as well. Like, what happens when, like, no one, you have to do everything behind closed doors? Because a lot of, you know, what encompasses discipline is doing things behind closed doors when people aren't cheering for you. When people aren't saying, we see you, go for it, right? Case in point, man, like, you know, again, just, you know, bringing it back to a little bit of, you know, fitness. And I like to use fitness sometimes as kind of like an example because it represents who I am. But, you know, the accolades that I've been able to garner, you know, when it comes to the bodybuilding world, you know, competing in a national show and placing in the top 5 amongst some incredible physiques. When I say incredible physiques, these guys are top notch. Like, I'm talking about everybody put in work, right? But being able to do those things, you know, people recognized me for those accolades, right? You know, I posted on social media and everybody's there to clap for you. But when I was making those cardio posts, when I was making those I'm eating, you know, chicken and broccoli posts, when I was making those posts where it's not as glamorous, I didn't get those high fives and the cheers and the things like that, right? Because those aren't glamorous stuff, right? And so discipline requires you to continue to do the non-glamorous stuff without the applause and the appraisals and still stay consistent doing so. Because you know that if you continue to do this, that there's going to be success on the other side of the wall or whatever you want to call it, right? And so that's discipline to me. You know what I mean? It's like when no one is there to say, hey, you're doing great, and it's only you, then are you going to do it? Or are you going to, you know, be one of those people that's like, well, it's not on social media. People don't see this, so I can slack off and not do it, right? It's an internal thing, right? If I miss my cardio, I beat myself up. I don't need anybody to say anything to me. My coach doesn't have to say, hey, what are you not doing your cardio for? Me, it's like, I didn't do it. But I'm not going to allow that to happen because internally I'm like, shoot, like I got this goal. I'm going to go for it. And I said I was going to do it, so I'm going to do it. And bottom line, like it could be midnight. You know what I mean? I could be dead tired from a shift at my cafe, right? And get home, you know, my daughter wants to play and all of these things my girlfriend wants to play, you know what I mean? All of these things. And I still, you know, are able to fulfill, you know, the things that they want, but still make sure that I'm disciplined enough to fulfill the things that I said that I committed to myself. That's discipline.
I totally agree on that because people, they forget that they have to take care of this. They put too much attention into what's happening around them, but not even 1% on what's inside of this.
Right.
Everything you do in your life, it starts from your body. Yeah. It starts from your thoughts. It starts from your body. It starts from your actions. It starts from the way how you think. And if you give too much of attention to something that is out of you, which means literally if you pay attention to what other people's doing or what kind of fruit you want, You know what I mean? Because I literally think about those achievements as fruits. Let me put it that way. It's funny how as I told you, like I spend a lot of times with monks and meditative people. And he says, one thing, like when I was 17, 18, I had a lot of desires. So quite a lot of things that I want to do. Like I see it in social media and I'm like, I want it. He says, if you only look for fruits in a tree, you're only going to appreciate the fruit. But if you appreciate the whole tree, not only you're going to have a beautiful tree, but these trees are going to do things for you that you don't even know. You don't even notice. Yeah. Which means the air, for example, gets you a nice breeze, nice environments, very chilly, that you don't even need the fruit sometimes. Right. Do you know what I mean? It's there, it's coming. And that's what I feel like people are looking to, for example, the results, but they don't appreciate the process. Right. And I think a lot of people, because it's always that way. Oh, I see that guy is doing this, but I don't see, like, the background is not, he's not doing this. So for myself, I should not do this. Right. But if I don't do this, you're not going to have that lifestyle. Right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, like, that's not an intelligent way to live life. And if you follow other people, what they're doing, you don't know the full story of it. Yeah. Because it's easy to look at your account and be like, oh my God, like this guy's living life. But people who are around you see how much effort. Do you remember like when you were sending me messages like, hey, I'm doing cardio 2 hours. Yeah. Like for 2 hours. Yeah. And like, yes, people saw the competition's results, which you nailed it, but they didn't appreciate that 2 hours of cardio that you've done all the time. Yeah. So discipline, I believe, is not the main discipline. It would be take your attention from what's outside of you and put it in you. Yeah. Regardless if you have a wife, regardless if you have a child, if you are saying the things that you want to do and you fulfill it, then you'll love yourself. Yeah. If you accumulate a lot of things that you may not even need it and not doing it, then you don't need it. Yeah. Then you're probably just not going to happen.
Yeah, it's a difference between
that's how I look at things.
Yeah, it's a difference between actually, saying you want something and actually going for it. Like one of my mentors told me, it's like anytime you like say you want something but the actions don't follow, it's really more of a wish. You're just wishing. You're like, please God, please grant me this, right? Without the action, without the work. But there's a difference between when you say something and the actions follow. That is a commitment. That is like an internal drive that it really can't be matched, right? And so, so in life, when you really want something, you got to remember that you got to find in you, what is going to drive you to go after it. Because if you don't have that, it'll be a wish, and you more than likely you won't achieve it. It's just not going to happen.
Here's the thing, funny fact, like people keep saying like, please God, give me this. God invests a lot of energy in you. And if you don't invest that energy into the things that you want, what makes you think God's going to give it to you? Yeah. It's that simple as that.
Dead on, man. Dead 100%. I mean, and it's not to shame anybody for, praying and, anything like that. I do believe in the power of prayer, but I do believe in the power of action as well, and, it's just like these people that pray to win the lottery, right? Those are pretty much in a way, they're a little bit out of control. There are some things that you can do in order to increase your odds of winning, right? Like purchasing more tickets and stuff like that. And that's the action that were required. But again, it's like you got to follow everything with more and more action, more and more thought, more and more drive in order to achieve it. And that's what I love about everything. I always tell people, like, the difference between someone who actually achieves their goal and somebody who doesn't achieve their goal is really just that drive. That's it. No one is better than the other person. It's just that person that has more drive is going to be more consistent with the actions that's going to get them there. The person that doesn't is just going to sit there and just sit on the couch and I wish this stomach would go away. or they're going to look for quick fixes, right? They're going to look for all the quick things out there, and they're going to be the ones that's going to fall for those gimmicks. But there's no shortcut to hard work. There really isn't. It's just hard work and more hard work, and that's it. And that's always going to be the solution to anything that you desire in life.
If you don't work for it, you will not get it.
Not at all.
But also, I totally believe in a way that if you don't see something working, you're probably doing the wrong thing.
Absolutely.
And one key is to reach help, right?
Absolutely.
And people who said, for example, one thing that I really have to stress about for people, if they want to do some like things, I've built a lot of things. I put a lot of effort into the businesses, right? Like that we're building and stuff like that. But without you, I won't be able to do it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And without other people around me, like I won a competition in MMA, right? Like, but without my coaches, I probably won't be able to do it.
Yeah.
And I think the key in here is they take their mindset from just me to see clearly the things that are around you.
Yeah.
See if you're doing something beneficial for everyone or not.
Yeah.
Be genuine about it and be honest with yourself. That's it.
Yeah. You know, honestly, and this is a really good topic because I actually made a post recently on my Instagram about this, about how like I really do feel as though like everyone needs a coach, right? Because, you know, everyone, whenever you start any type of journey, you're green. You don't know anything, right? And a lot of times, like, and I do believe this is what I always suggest for people. Like, in the beginning, spend the first couple of weeks trying to figure it out on your own, right? Go on YouTube, go on all of these platforms, you know, take in as much information as possible, right? And start to apply some of those things. And after you've essentially learned enough, because you want to make educated, you know, decisions, right? When it comes to choosing a coach, when it comes to doing anything. And so you do all of those things so you become a little bit more informed. And so now it's super important. I always suggest that you get a coach or a mentor in your field, because what a coach or a mentor does, they eliminate, you know, they essentially, okay, so what they do is essentially shorten the lifespan of how many mistakes you're going to make on your journey, right? So if you don't have a coach, what happens is you're going to make mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake over and over and over again. And most people, once they make a couple of mistakes, they quit, right? And that's natural. It's like, okay, man, I made a few mistakes. It's not getting there. They're not always willing to keep making those mistakes over and over and over again. And then you got the very few that will continue to make the mistakes, but they're learning from it. And then they get better and better and better, right? And so those people are great as well, you know? What a coach will do is, it's more than just tell you what to do, right? In each instance, but you're also able to ask questions and learn. And they'll be able to tell you why these decisions are being made, so that now you're educated and you're on the right path at the same time, right? You know, for me, when I started my journey, I'm a coach. Like, I'm a health and fitness professional. I help tons of people all over the world get results. But even I hired a coach on my most recent journey, right? And again, for me, it wasn't about the guy or my coach telling me exactly what to do. I knew what to do, right? But what he did for me, and this is another element of having a coach or mentor, what he did for me was he put my mind at ease. Because, you know, sometimes when you know your stuff, it's like, yeah, you know it, right? But sometimes you second guess yourself. And every professional does this. I don't care who you are. At some point, there's going to be some type of second guessing. You could be Warren Buffett. There's going to be a second guess on like, oh, wait, should I invest my money in this or not, right? And so what he did for me, my coach at the time, he was like, listen, when I would second guess things, he would be like, go ahead, just continue. continue. And I needed that, right? I needed someone to be able to tell me, like, listen, just keep it up. And that ultimately changed my whole trajectory in my fitness journey. It's about 6 months ago when I hired him. And since then, we check in from time to time, but I no longer use him as a coach for everyday thing, but he got me to where I wanted to be, right? And that's what I love, right? Yep. I always tell everybody, get a coach, get somebody to guide you, because it's super important. It doesn't have to be all the time, right? Something like health and fitness doesn't necessarily always need to be like in your ear telling you what to do along the journey. Once you get a good understanding, you can honestly take it on your own. But get a coach. There's going to be coaches like they're going to be that you're probably going to need in your corner forever, right? Like I have a financial coach that I have in my corner forever. I have a life coach that's in my corner forever. I can reach out to him and be like, hey, this is what's going on, and he supports me in understanding what I need to do next. But coaches are the backbone of having that success. So I'm a big proponent. Listen, grab your coach. It's super important for your journey.
Yep. And what's the opposite of that is not having a coach, right? Like not having anybody.
Yeah.
Not reaching out to help. I think people forget that they needed help to be able to grow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What makes you think that your mom provided that helps for you to grow and be able to stand on your feet and do decisions yourself?
Yeah.
But what makes you think that you're not going to be able to do the same thing in business or fitness or relationships or any of that?
Right.
The answer is very clear for you. It's just, are you humble enough to accept the fact that you need help or not?
Yeah. And what's funny about this too is because it's like, I'm glad you used that word humble enough, right? Because what's a funny part about this whole journey is like, and I work with a lot of people. I find it funny that majority of the people that don't humble themselves enough to seek help are men. It's us, bro. Like, we're the ones that, like, it's so crazy. Yeah. I would talk to guys and be like, yo, I want to look like you. And then, we'll start having a conversation about what it is. And they'll be like, oh, no, I already know what to do. I say, oh, okay, cool. Next year, they come back again. Hey, I want to look like you. I'm like, all right, this is what oh, no, I already know what to do. I was like, hold on, bro. You've been saying you know what to do for years. But yet, I'm not to knock the guy, but you still look like trash. Right? There's no improvement. There's nothing going on. So how long are you going to continue to tell yourself you know what to do? I know what to do, right? And you know that I know what to do, but I still sought help. So if I, as a health and fitness professional, has been doing this for a long time, still sought help, and you, as someone who's struggling to even eat broccoli or whatever, just even get an ab, right? What makes you think that you got it?
Yeah.
And so definitely, it's super important. Just seek help.
Yeah, absolutely. Humbling means there's tremendous possibilities of saying I don't know, which means now you're open to know. Yeah. But when you say I know and it end up the wrong thing, then you question yourself and your trust, and you beat yourself. I think we grew up in a world that we thought, like, as men, we thought crying is not good. We thought reaching out for help is not good. You always got to look like that tough guy who knows what to do, who's confident, who's that, or who's this.
Yep.
Like, all right, you want to be only idiots act confident if they don't know what they're doing. You know what I mean? Have you ever tried, sometimes to just pretend to know what to do, and then you didn't know, and you look you look like an idiot. You know what I mean?
It's the worst
you know what I mean?
feeling. Listen, guys, and for those that listening to this podcast, let me tell you straight up. We're speaking from experience. That's the only reason we're talking like this, right? We're not saying that we've been there. Because I can remember, as Julian, as you were talking, I can remember days where I was or in situations where I was acting like I knew something, and I was you know what I mean? And people probably knew I didn't know, but I still had to put on the facade like I knew it, right? And this is back in college days. And I'm yeah, I got it. I know. Listen, that's that word, those two words put together, I know, is one of the most closing phrases ever. It's like somebody's trying to give you some guidance, and you're like, I know. That just closes the conversation, right? And it doesn't create or give people opportunity to really have communication, because there's going to be things that you really don't know, and there's things that you don't know, right, in this world. And when I remember when I finally personally and started to really recognize that, when somebody said that to me, there's things that you don't know that you don't know. And when they said that to me, I said, you know what, that actually makes sense to me, because how would I know something that I never even knew that I didn't know? Like, if that makes sense. And so when I finally decided to stop being this closed off person, right, and stop saying I know whenever somebody's telling me, even if I do know, I never say I know anymore. I try not to say that, right? Because the second that I say it, then that person is going to stop the conversation, because they're like, oh, okay, you know it, right? Imagine, so start any conversation and be like, start telling somebody something, or somebody start telling you something and you say I know, I guarantee you it's going to stop. But the second that you just nod your head and be like, okay, or just say okay, okay, I got it. You may already know it. Hey, if you do some crunches, your abs are going to get stronger. Okay. I'm not going to say I know. Yes, I know that, right? If you do cardio, it's going to support your cardiovascular system and everything. Okay, awesome, great, right? It keeps the conversation going, because then that person might say something that now you don't know, and you're like, oh, got it. Okay, awesome, thank you. So don't say I know. Try to keep the conversation going with okay or great or, awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, what I want to add to that is, what I mean is I know is like, do you know the information, or do you know how to do it? There is I think people glorify thoughts so much. Like one rule we have in MMA: if you don't do things enough, you're probably not gonna know what it is. Like if I can know exactly the techniques of someone who's doing any movement or any shot, but I bet you what, I know how to do it, I can't do it, because I don't know how to do it. And in order for you to do it, you got to do it again and again and again with the right guidance. So just the fact that I think people glorify thoughts, and when they know new information, they think they fully got it. But it's not that. Truly not that. Like, okay, so you know what to do to lose. Like, most people knows how to lose weight. Most people knows that they should not eat too much and then work out, and then pretty much that's the formula behind it. Regardless if you're doing whatever the workout you want, right? But why you don't do it? Because you don't know how to do it. You don't know how to survive, how to do it properly, how to manage it, how your body's gonna take it. You break your body so many times. That's why you need someone who is an expert to it. Like to that specific area that you want to do. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to tell you what a good marriage is and how to have a good marriage, but I'm not married. You know what I mean? Or I'm divorced. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's a difference between knowing the information and actually applying it.
Absolutely.
That's completely different.
No, for sure. 100%.
So what I want to say, like, for example, what do you think that can improve people's discipline? Because that's, like, you can know the information, but, like, if you don't have the right discipline, you're not going to be able to do it. So number one would be find help, find accountability.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
What is like, for example, what about themselves? What about the thought process? What about the step-by-step exercise that they can start now, they can start doing now, and then that can lead to a compound effects that will be their entire life is discipline?
I mean, this is a really good question, and to be honest, it's so discipline starts within, right? It's a burning desire to want change, right? So I guess one of the first things when I think about creating better disciplines to change your life is, first you got to have a desire for that change, right? So after that desire comes, okay, let's create the habits, right? And discipline is just literally a set of things that you do, right, over and over and over again. And you know what makes, just to kind of give you an idea, what makes discipline difficult for most people is, you know, the word itself doesn't require or doesn't always include a change towards that goal. So like, for example, like if you do something once, right, if there isn't a correlated success to it, right, then why would you do it again? Right?
Yeah.
This is where discipline comes in. And then again, why would you do it again? And then why would you do it again? And then again. That's crazy. You know, they always tell you, like, you know, the definition of craziness is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result.
Yeah.
That's
Different
why, you know,
results, yeah.
whenever it's so funny because whenever people, you know, describe someone who is like disciplined, they call them crazy. You know, they call them, oh, you're following a cult. You're doing all of this stuff, because you do almost have to be a little bit crazy, because the definition of crazy is doing the same thing over and over and over again without a different result. But in this instance, when it comes to discipline, it's a little bit different because there is a result, but it's so minute that it's hard to actually, you know, see. And so
notice, yeah.
And so because it's hard to notice, people fall off and people quit. And so instead, you know, so some of the ways that you can improve your discipline is to start to create habits, because habits, you know, form your life and they change your life. And so they say it takes about 21 days to form a habit. And so if you want to improve your discipline, like start with doing one thing and do it for 21 days. Because after 21 days, I guarantee you it's just going to become commonplace and it's just going to be something that you do consistently. So that would be like essentially like the next step. You know, and I know that 21 days is such a long time, and when you think about it, especially when somebody's getting started. But that's why that desire has to be there. That's the number one thing. The desire has to be there. And then the actions of just repeating it over and over and over again without seeing the results is going to be key. And so that's what I would suggest to somebody who's really starting to develop their discipline. Do it, 21 days. Don't focus on the result at all, right? Because the result itself will get you, you know, frustrated in many cases. It'll get you like really sidetracked because, again, we want the result. We want to see the fruits of our labor. But instead, just focus on patting yourself on the back for getting it done. So that's the result. I do this, I get a reward. I do it again the next day, I get a reward. And I guarantee you do that over and over. It's like grooming a kid. You know, like my daughter, for example, right? You know, I don't want to say I trick her, but I, in a sense, trick her, right? When I want her to clean her room, you know, what I would say to her is like, you know, I would give her all this positive reinforcement, right? She'd pick up one item off the floor. Oh my goodness, Layla, you did that all by yourself? And then she smiles, and then she picks up the next one, right? And now she picks up the next one. And now it turns into, for her, it's like, I want to keep doing this because I love, you know, how I'm getting this positive reinforcement, right? And so it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But we have to do it for ourselves. We don't have, you know, our mom and dad to be on our back as an adult to be like, hey, Julian, you did such a great job. Amazing. Now do it again, right? We got to be our own cheerleader in that sense every single time. And so that's what I would suggest. It's like pat yourself in the back for getting it done, but don't focus on the actual result that comes from getting it done.
Yeah. And yeah, pretty much you just described momentum, because we kind of know what it is, but scientifically momentum is that good feeling you give yourself from doing, that reward you give yourself from doing certain actions.
Yeah.
And the reason why money is such a big momentum for people, it's either it's not working on their way or it's working really much on their way. It's because of that momentum, how they feel about, making money, right?
Yeah.
So same for fitness. If you keep feeling trash about your body, you're not going to take care of it. You're not going to like it. And it's scientifically that kind of positive emotion that you get from doing one certain action, that what's create momentum.
Yeah.
And the reason why people say 21 days, I know it's a common say, but scientifically it takes 21 days to reprogram your genes, to reprogram how you feel. 21 days means you repeat the same feeling again and again and again and again, that it becomes natural for your body to feel that way.
Yeah.
But some people don't even know that. Like, they stick for something for 4 days, and then they're like, I heard 21 days is good. But yeah, it's a lot. Like, is it a lot to change how you feel? You're going to live in this life for 90 years or plus, or I don't know. But take 21 days to at least control how you feel and program yourself in terms of how you feel. And that's what it means, habit, right? If you don't have the right habit, then you will not have the right life that you want.
Yeah.
Build your habit towards the life that you want, regardless if it's fitness. Don't look for other people's, like, hey, I want to look like 175 pounds or 220 or something like that, shredded. Like, why do you even care about that?
Yeah.
Care about, I want to work out this amount of time because I feel like my life need it.
Yeah.
And now you're doing it for yourself, not for looking good to go and attract people and impress people that you don't even care. So it really comes from attention. Don't pay attention to anything outside other than yourself. Because truly human experience, it's within. It's how you feel. You can go to the same place, and if you feel good, you will say good things about that place.
Yeah.
I'll go to the same place. If I feel bad about it, I come back and I'll be like, this place is trash.
Right.
It's really experience. It's an experience.
Yeah.
So what makes you think that somebody else is going to make you feel that way? That's not a privilege that I want to give people.
Right.
I want to give that privilege on how I feel only. And if you keep doing the same habits and creating those emotions again and again and again for 21 days, you work your memory towards a place where it's naturally release those emotions.
Yeah.
And now you naturally do things without even thinking about it. And that's the key for it.
Yeah. 100.
So same thing with
100%.
fitness.
Absolutely.
I want to know from your journey, did you start fitness because you want to impress somebody? Which is fine at first, but
No, I actually started fitness because I just wanted to look and feel better for myself, believe it or not. It wasn't for any particular person or anything like that. Yes, I did want to look like certain people that I saw in the magazines, but I didn't want to look like those people because I wanted to impress anyone. I just wanted personally for myself. I wanted to be able to take care of myself. And I'm glad I did, like I said, and just speaking on what you were just talking about, like, again, it just goes back to desire. Everything starts with desire. And you have a desire that is more than just about pleasing other people, and it's more about yourself. It's an innate desire. You're more than likely going to take the actions, right? It's going to make it easier to start to work on those 21 days to create that new habit that's going to reprogram you to start living differently. That's going to focus more on, helping you get to, your goals and where you want to be. And so for me, it was just that, I'm just like sick and tired of being sick and tired. I didn't want to, I remember, I was just like, man, I got tired of the partying and the drinking and not feeling good and just all of the stuff that comes with it. You know what I mean? I remember one day I was just like, am I just going to keep doing this forever? Like, is this what life is all about? And it wasn't like I was drinking and getting healthier. It wasn't like I was partying and getting more fit. I was going in a reverse direction. And I remember thinking like, man, if I continue at this pace, man, like I've created the habits that's going to lead me down to this way. Now I need to switch this and create new habits that's going to lead me down in the opposite direction, the area that I really want to go. And that's when I made a decision to be like, I got to do something, and I'm glad that I did. And even then, just kind of talking about coaching, the first thing that I did was again, at first I was like, let me figure it out on my own, and I did a little bit, and I got maybe a little bit of results. And one of the first things that I did was I sought help. I was one of the humble guys that was like, you know what, I'm tired of this. And what's funny is like I sought help, and the help actually came from a female, a girl, right? She's the one that taught me all about getting involved with health and fitness and nutrition and things like that. And she's also the one that taught me about the business of health and nutrition and Herbalife and all of those things. And so it's crazy because just that one little reach out changed the whole trajectory of my entire life, both physically with the fitness side and health wise with the nutrition side, and then also with the business side as well, because the income that I generate now as a health and fitness professional with Herbalife Nutrition, supporting people with the products, it's immense. You know what I mean? I make a 6-figure income annually, right? And I know me and Julian, we're working on some amazing things that's going to even triple that, right? But it was the start. It was the start that that launched me on this path that even brought me to to where I am today with Julian and what we're creating. And so you just never know how that one reach out can change your life. You know what I mean? And so I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Reach out to help create good habits. You're creating habits, just be the ones that you want. And work towards things based on yourself, not based on other people. Because a lot of times pleasing people come from it's a parent's pattern.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You always do things to impress them because they did not praise you.
Yeah.
And that's why I remember the other day we had a call, me and you, and you tell me I spoiled her too much. You know what I mean? For your daughter. And I'm like, no. This is actually a great thing.
Yeah.
This is actually a great thing because she have enough that she doesn't seek your, you know what I mean? Like she doesn't seek your approval.
Yeah.
Which is amazing to do. I think subconsciously you do that for her, but if you don't do that, you create some sort of you need to always validate other people, which means because of the patterns when you were younger that your parent didn't give you that, you know what I mean, that praise.
Yes.
You will always seek validations from people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And people don't notice that.
Yeah.
They don't notice that. It grows. It grows. But now you're an adult. You have the power to sit down and be like, have an honest conversation. I want things for myself, for my life. My life and your life are not different things. They're the same thing, right? It's as important as your life and my life. If I want to do good for other people's life, I got to take care of this life first.
Right.
Write down habits that what you want to do and just do it. Right. Reach out to help.
Yeah. And
thinking about things that we're going to do.
Yeah, I mean, I already know we're going to do a lot of amazing things, but I want to add to this topic too, because this is something too, and this is for all the parents out there, right? This is for all the parents out there, all the people that, that have kids and, that are willing to die for their kids. Because, I mean, I don't know any parent that genuinely love their kids that wouldn't say that. Like, I would die for my kids. I would do anything for my kids. Well, here's the challenge that I always tell people or tell parents. It's like, well, would you live for your kids? Yes, we know you die for your kids, but would you live for your kids? Because it's just as important, right? Taking care of your health and your wellness and your fitness, all of those things, is so that it's more than just a vanity thing so you can look good. It's for having more energy so you can play with your kids. It's for having a longer life so you can be there for your kids, right? All this poor eating and doing all these, all these things that's hurting your health and your wellness is also hurting your kids. So don't just die for your kids. Live for your kids. Take the action.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, that's super important. My daughter, like, it's so crazy because she follows in my footsteps so much, and I don't even realize it all the time. But she does a lot of the things. Like, my daughter is physically strong. Like, and when I say physically strong, she's like one of the strongest 7-year-olds, you know, in my opinion, in like the world. Like, the things that she does, I'm like, how are you able to do this? And, you know, her eating patterns and the way she moves and all this stuff, she's basically copying my lifestyle, right? And her mom is the same way, you know, live this healthy lifestyle. So she's eating and drinking water and doing all these things. And I'm just watching, I'm like, just marvel at just who she's becoming and who she is now. And I'm like, this is exactly what I wanted. You know what I mean? I wanted this. I wanted the replication of me, all my good habits, right? And some of my bad habits she's starting to replicate as well, but I'm working on fixing those as well. But it's just amazing. So parents out there, listen, your kids are watching you. So those chips and those things that's in your household, and listen, you got to make those changes now, because the next generation is watching us, and we get to really be a strong representation of what they potentially can be, like, and not hinder their health and their growth.
Yeah, absolutely. What if they want to start working with you, my guy? Where they can reach out to you?
You know, you can reach out to me, you know, on social media at FitDad, you know, on Instagram. You can find me also on Facebook. It's Sheriff Taiwo, and I believe we're going to put this in the video as well. You can check out the FitDad experience, right? We're going to put all the information on the screen as well for you to be able to find. But again, you know, we're giving out all this information not just for you to look at it. We're giving this information for you to take advantage of it, you know, because this is one thing, just like Julian was talking about earlier, it's one thing to know the information because we're going to provide it, but it's another thing to apply the information, right? So call, text, email, go to the site, fill out the forms, do whatever, but get involved today. It's super important because there's no time to waste. Time is now. Let's get it.
Absolutely. And speaking about parents, one thing I've seen a lot, even like with my life. If you tell your kids to do certain things that you don't know, they may intellectually understand it, that it's not a good thing. Yeah. But it's a revolution, right? Like, maybe you don't remember your great-grandfather, right? But his face is in there. He has pieces of him in you, and you don't know that. Yeah. Genetically, you're not letting your kids to do what you wanted them, because they still have memories from genetically from you. It's an accumulation of a lot of feelings throughout a period of time. Right. And if you feel certain way about something, right? And you've been, like, let's say you're drinking, right? And you're drinking so much, and then you don't want your kids, naturally you don't want your kid to do this, repeat the same pattern, right? But because you've done so much drink before, and you have that muscle memory, that genetic memory, you pass it to your kids.
Sure.
And then naturally gonna develop. Not about telling your kids what do you want. It's about living as a life example for them.
Exactly.
And then they're only gonna take what you gave them, unless if they've done tremendous work. If not, then they're only gonna take what you gave them and amplify it and make it bigger.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, it's
a wise option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's leading by example. That's exactly what you're describing. Is leading by example more than by just telling them. You know, that's a key.
And honestly, like, I really advise everyone to sign up for the Fit Dad experience, because it's really not about the just the fitness. It's about every single thing that will affect by just reaching out for help. Yeah. So if you're watching this, click the link below. You're going to have a form where Sharif is gonna look at it, and then he will set up one of his team members to have a call with you, and then pretty much understand your situation and try to give you a solution just for you, a customized solution just for you to start working on yourself. And I think it's one of the most crucial parts in everyone's growth. I've never seen someone who start just by themselves. Like even guidance, even if you ask God for guidance, you keep asking God for guidance, someone else for guidance. Yes. It works the same thing. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I mean, listen, there's just, like you said it, there's nothing like having someone there to communicate with that can, steer you in the right direction consistently. There's nothing like it. It's like the cheat code to life. You know what I mean? You don't have to second guess it. You don't have to think about it. You're literally one text, email, phone call away from understanding the process and understanding what to do next. And all of these little things is what changes your life. All of these little things is what helps you reach the goals that you've long desired for so long, like forever, that you couldn't achieve. And I'm speaking to that person right now that has tried everything in the books, right? You've tried the crash diets. You've tried the workouts. You've tried the 10-minute, hey, you can get in shape in 10 minutes a day. You've tried all of those things, right? And it may or may not have really worked for you. But what we do with this Fit Dad experience, what we do with this whole program, is really focus on a whole lifestyle change. So it's more than temporary fixes. This is like whole life fixes forever. This is generational fixes in a sense. This is taking what I've learned over the years and providing it to you in a simple, easy, follow step-by-step thing, along with some guidance and getting the result. And you get to do it with someone who's living the same life that you are living. The fit dads, the parents, right? So I'm in your shoes. I'm in your boat. I get it. I get all the issues. I get what's going on. I know time is an issue. I know this is an issue. I get it. But wherever there's a will, there's a way. And that's kind of like been my motto. And if you're willing to take the time now to really just, hunker down and just take the action, I guarantee you to be the best decision that you've ever made. And I'm excited to be able to work with you and the family and really just help you start to achieve all of those lifelong goals that you've wanted. And so, get started with the Fit Dad experience. I'm excited to work with you, and it's only a matter of time right now where you can start to say, like, it was the best decision I ever made, and living the best life that you've ever wanted.
Perfect. All right, you heard the man. Click the link below and join the club right now. It's a nice experience. It will change your life tremendously, and I can't recommend Sharif better than this. Like, he's literally the guy who's gonna be there for you. So excited for you guys to have you on the Fit Dad experience, and we'll see you next week. We're doing the same thing every single week, and we will gonna bring a lot of topics, a lot of students' results, for example, a lot of interviews in the future. So tune in for that, and I'll see you guys in next week. Anything you want to add, Sharif?
No, that's it, man. See you guys next week. Keep tuning into these podcasts and to everything that we put out. We put a lot of valuable content out. It's kind of like a sneak peek into some of the mentoring and some of the guidance. You're not going to get the full thing, but you get a little bit of me inside of these. And so I'm excited for you. Let's get started.
All right. I'll see you guys in next week.